My friend is gone. I will miss him. He was a good friend. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. We focus a lot on sort of the new frontier of health a lot here on the show.
Yeah, well, excited. I want to live forever. I got to be healthy if I do that.
Yeah, I want to just be brain and jar connected to network forever.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's not a popular opinion with most of society right now. And we're really going to have to wait a long time for everybody to come around to that. And what I haven't come to terms with is the fact that I'll probably be dead before we come around to that.
Man.
Because I refuse.
That's a bummer.
I refuse. We've talked about this before. Somewhere, someone is going to be the last person to die before everybody becomes immortal.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the last person to die.
No.
I mean, listen, everyone will remember you, probably.
Yeah, it's the
maybe
last
a footnote
schmuck.
of history. Yeah, last schmuck. And not the way I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered because I'm still here.
Yeah. I want to be remembered because you walk by me on the street every day forever and you go, I know that guy.
I keep coming around.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't die.
That guy don't die. Why would he die? We don't do that anymore. But we, above and beyond that, we talk about some of the smaller advances in health. We've been talking about a lot of stuff that's just on the horizon, things that are just a few years away. And sometimes those things are a little strange, Jeff.
Ooh, we like strange here, though.
We do like strange. A few years ago, we talked about something, Jeff. I don't know if you remember this, but there are people that have things like ulcerative colitis or things like Crohn's disease, or even things like they may get a C. diff infection from another medical procedure. And they basically got some very intense and very serious tummy trubs.
Right. Yes.
Sometimes chronic, sometimes lifelong, sometimes deadly tummy trubs. It's a big deal.
Yes. But we've been making big advances in gut health.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the microbiome, and then as we figured out that the microbiome is connected to these chronic tummy trubs, we found out that the microbiome is connected to so many different things. This is of course the many forms of bacteria, millions of forms of bacteria that live in your gut and throughout your body that work in harmony with the rest of your body to sort of keep things normal and keep things regular.
That's
and we found out that that's connected to everything from your tummy trubs to mental health in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's actually shocking how much seems to be, they say your gut is your second brain, but some people are suggesting it might be your first brain, that it really defines a lot of even how you think is the microbiome and that the cohesion that's happening in your gut. Are we getting to poop injections? Is that where we're headed?
Now, Jeff, we did talk a little bit about poop injections. This is called a fecal transplant. We talked about it a few years ago. And the idea is if you're having tummy trubs, chronic, potentially lethal tummy trubs, or in some cases, even intense emotional issues connected to tummy trubs, we were testing, and by we, I mean literally me. I was doing this to people. You take healthy poop from somebody without tummy trubs, and you just put it up.
Preferably without them knowing.
Without them knowing, which is how I do it, because I don't have time to wait on, approvals and boards. And, they laughed at me at the university, but soon I'll be the one laughing, Jeff.
Yeah.
There was
a lot of laughter and a lot of that guy stinks.
Yeah. So we take healthy feces, and we preferably from somebody close to you, a relative, somebody that lives with you,
it's easier. Access is easier.
Yeah. Because I can get into their rooms when they're sleeping, but also because of genetic similarity and living in the same environment very close to one another, you come in contact with the same bacteria all the time. So your microbiome is likely to be very similar to them. We've even found that people that have pets, their microbiome is very similar to their pet's microbiome in a lot of ways.
This is something they don't tell you about when you're thinking about getting married. This is not something that's in your vows usually, that I'm going to start sharing microbiome with you. But I think there's going to be a day when we start factoring that into our mate choices.
Let me tell you something, Jeff. You're a tall, good-looking, square-jawed Gentile. So that's not anything you've been thinking of when you look for a mate. You're a healthy man from good, healthy stock, and you were just looking for a mate. Jeff, from the time I started dating, I was like, here's what's up. We got bad knees. We got digestive issues, glasses, bad teeth. Here's all the hereditary stuff that I have. I've got to marry somebody. I have to have children with someone who has the potential to breed these things out of me. I preferably just the tallest, healthiest person I can find.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
So, yeah. So believe me, the moment we started talking about microbiomes and how that affects health, immediately in my brain, I go, great. Got to find somebody with good gut microbiome. That's on a list. Yeah. It's on my Raya profile.
I was just going to say, it should be.
If you look me up on Hinge, it says I'm looking for somebody with a vast microbiome of gut flora.
Real healthy poop is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm looking for it says if you could ask one question of a potential mate, it would be like, how many healthy bowel movements do you have a week?
Yeah. It's a conversation starter.
Listen, is it a first date question? I think so. I think you have to get that stuff out of the way because it's like, look, if there are major no-goes for you, if there are deal breakers, you got to get those out of the way. What are your politics? How do you feel about religion? Do you want to have kids? How many bowel movements do you have a week? These are things you got to get out of the way because they're deal breakers.
I believe you call that the no-goes are no-goes, right?
That's
if
right.
You have somebody that's just not going.
I need somebody who can go at the drop of a hat. Into a hat in public if needed.
I'm going to drop my hat and you drop your trousers.
Exactly. And I'm going to take this to the lab and we're going to have it analyzed because I need to see if there's going to be a second date. Now, listen,
also, would you like dessert?
I want everybody to know before they go, ew, gross. I use a new hat every time because I don't want the sample to be.
Yeah, you're not a monster.
No, I need a clean sample from everyone.
It's a fresh hat every time.
It's a fresh hat.
And you know what? You choose the hat like you choose your mates.
That's right.
You know? It's got to be bespoke.
That's right. So no, I mean, here's the thing. Imagine if you don't live with family or friends, honestly, Jeff, the closest person to your microbiome could be your roommate. Imagine living with a roommate you found on Craigslist. You need a fecal transplant. And it's like, hey, man.
That's an awkward note to leave in the fridge.
Yeah, like, hey, please stop drinking my oat milk. And also, can you leave a bowel movement for me?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to be a little late on rent this month, and I need your poop.
Quick house meeting.
But no, so we've been testing these fecal transplants, and honestly, this is a very serious thing, and it has to be done in a very specific way. It has to be done in a clean facility. There are transfer bags, and there's certain, only a certain number of people are allowed to touch anything that are near. Like, it's really, because we're talking about bacteria, right?
Yeah.
So this has to be like an extremely clean environment. Has to be done in a specific way, and like we said, has to be potentially, if possible, somebody who is close to you physically. But Jeff, in just the few years since we started talking about the poop transplant, we've made major movements, and that is a pun.
Yes, I appreciated it.
Yeah. And I want to let you know that we've moved on to the point where, and this is wild to me, we might even be beyond the fecal transplant because the FDA just approved the very first poop pill.
Poop pill!
It's a poop pill now, baby.
Just swallow the poop. That's so much better. I mean, for all the folks.
You got to turn Safe Search off, but I've seen it before. I've seen this before. It didn't look
That's
healthy
the
when
one
I
was in
saw
the
it.
one cup with the two girls, wasn't it?
It didn't look healthy when I saw it, but I guess it is. My dog
But
does
this
it in
is
the
for-
park all the time, and it turns out
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very good for him.
Let the dogs lead the way. That is what we've been saying for years here on We Have Concerns.
That's right.
But this is for all the folks that found it too icky to think of putting the poop right up your butt. Finally, something that won't be as disgusting. Just swallow the poop pill.
Now, Jeff, if you're given the choice, let's be honest. You're making a joke. You're being a little goof. You're being a silly little guy. But let me ask you something, Jeff. If you were given the choice, which one do you want?
100% I'm taking the pill. 100%.
100% you're taking the
And
pill.
honestly, this doesn't even really gross me out that much. Like,
No.
I don't know what the hell is in half the pills I take. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It could be poop. Who knows? You know, I swallow it down with some water or juice, whatever. Fine. If it's going to make me feel better, I don't have a problem. I honestly, like the concept of it, yeah. Oh, icky. Oh, you're swallowing. But like, it's just, there will be no sensation of it being feces, right?
Yeah.
And is it pure? I mean, is it pure feces?
Pure uncut feces?
Is it like the real good
like,
shit?
what's the street value of this feces? Is that what you're asking me?
I've heard it referred to as good shit, but I think it really puts the shit in good shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, yeah, the pill is going to be called Voust. That's the
Faust?
Voust, VOWST.
I thought you said Faust.
It is a bit
Like
of a
the guy-
Faustian agreement.
That would be an amazing. There's nothing to worry about. Just take Faust.
Yeah. Just accept the deal.
Yeah.
Just accept the deal. What's the problem?
You just open the sepulcher. That's what we call the packaging.
Yeah.
You remove Faust. Sign right here in blood. That's all we need. And
we do ask, I mean, you don't have to do this. It's more important that you just make the deal at the time you're supposed to make the deal. But if you can, we love to have you inside a circle of salt. You know, we understand a lot of people you're out, you're on the go, you're at work. You can't always get into a circle of salt in time to take the pill. But if you can, we'd love that.
From the company that brought you Beelzebub.
So here's the deal. This was just approved last month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, mazel tov to the people at Seres Therapeutics.
Hey, well done, Series. Well done with Voust.
Yeah.
So you brought this up, framing it as the people closest to you are the ones that you have to, that will benefit you the most in getting your.
It's a great question, Jeff.
So are they making these poop pills from your friends and family?
Yeah. No. But wouldn't that be great?
That would.
Wouldn't that be great? Because it's the same. They're just like, listen, it's the same thing we were doing before, except instead of putting it into an enema bag and shooting it up India, we put it in tiny pills. Does that make it better for you? I don't know. What is it going to take to get you to put this poop inside you? What's it going to take?
Listen, we're here to make a deal. Are you gonna make a deal with Faust or not?
Are you going to do this? This is our final offer. Here's what's up. So this pill and most of these treatments, even though it's best to be done with somebody that's close to you, not everybody can do that. Not everybody has somebody that can do that for them. And, even sometimes people who, if you're living together, maybe there's something wrong with their microbiome where it's like, hey, we don't want to do this. We're learning more about the microbiome every day, literally. And so there is, Jeff, a central stool bank.
Dude, can I be a poop donor?
Potentially.
Am I flushing money down the toilet every day?
Yeah, potentially. But here's what I'm going to tell you, Jeff. It ain't easy to become a fecal donor. The approval rating for fecal donors is only around 5%.
Now, you're going to think that I'm lying to you, Anthony, but I genuinely thought you said the approval rating.
No, I'm doing the story this week, not you.
Okay. 5% of the people that attempt to have their poop donated get approved. Because I think that actually tracks in my, that is in line with my intuition on this. Because if I'm going to swallow a poop pill, I want it to be the best of the best. I want it to be the top 5% of all poop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to be the very best. I want to be the top 5 of the 2.
Yeah.
Top 5 of the number 2. That's what I want. And not everybody can do that. I mean, there are more people turned away for this.
The slogan on the box.
That's the slogan on the box for Open Biome. Open Biome is the largest stool bank in the United States. And they, you know, these are FDA approved options, right?
Yeah.
But stool banks are currently not entirely FDA approved.
Huh. Well, how can you get approval on the pill if you can't get approval on how you got the contents of the pill?
Right. So that's the thing. Even though these treatments, the enema versions of these treatments have been going on for the last few years, the enema version of the treatment was only approved in December of last year. It's only been FDA. This is a treatment that has only been recognized from the FDA for the last 5 months. Before that, if you wanted to get a fecal transplant, it was considered a kind of an experimental thing, right? It was not yet approved by the FDA. It was not considered a fully approved medical procedure. So if you went to a place like Open Biome, now Open Biome has supplied more than 65,000 stool samples for C. diff patients since 2013. They've been doing this for 10 years, 65,000 different procedures. And it wasn't FDA approved. It was experimental. This was like, you literally had to look at people and say, I'm going in to get poop shoved up my butt to fix me. And people go, is that real? And you have to say, it will be one day.
It will be. I just have faith. I believe.
Yeah. It's not an easy topic to broach with people, I would imagine.
No, I think this is one of those ones where you'll have a lot of discretion, you know. There'll be a lot of it'll be discreet.
Now, Open Biome's standard stool treatment costs about $1,700.
Wow. Are these pills going to be that expensive?
Series has not said yet. But the idea here is Eric Schaff, who's the CEO of Series, said, we want to make the commercial experience for physicians and patients as easy as possible. Ease of administration, in our view, is one of the aspects of the value we're delivering. Now, that's a very CEO thing to say.
Sure. I think that, but it tracks, right? That's the idea, is the enema, not easy. Not an easy sell, pill easy.
Yeah.
Is the pill sort of a one size fits all? Anybody, the same pill for everybody? Or
the idea is it should be. The idea is it should be. And I think that's why they turned so many people away, is there are key strains of bacteria, and not just a few key strains. You know, we're talking about thousands of key strains of bacteria that we're looking for when we look in somebody's microbiome. And so that's why it's so rare. Now, Series basically says that the way they do this, it relies on like a lot of techniques and equipment that they use to purify like blood products already, which makes a lot of sense, or biological therapies. So they start with, stool provided by a group of donors who've been screened for all of these health risks and conditioned. It's tested for like dozens of viruses, infections, parasites. Then it's tested for the good, healthy bacteria. Then it processes the samples to remove the waste, isolate the bacteria, kill any other lingering organisms, and then
it's not even a poop pill. It's bacteria harvested from poop pill.
Yes. There is no fecal matter by the time the pill gets to you, but everything is coming from the fecal matter.
We promised 98% poop free.
Hey, buddy, that's probably more than the FDA promises in most restaurants.
Yeah. McDonald's can't argue that.
No, they cannot. No, they cannot. So the idea is, they can make thousands of capsules from every stool sample, which makes it way, way, way more efficient than current fecal transplants because you're talking like one stool sample to one person that way.
Yeah.
So
this is amazing. It's easy to make fun of this, and we have,
and we will continue to.
And we'll continue to for sure. But this is truly remarkable. And my wife has a lot of gut issues. Her gut health is a big, big issue for her. She has a lot of digestive problems. If she eats the wrong foods, she can get really uncomfortable. She's got hot girl tummy issues. Hot girl tummy, yes, for sure. And she's struggled with it. She's had many, many tests, and she's tried to isolate exactly which foods she can't have, and and it's those prick tests where they try to see if you're allergic to all certain things. She's been going round and round and round, and I truly believe this is going to be her salvation. I think this is going to help so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a huge breakthrough, honestly.
A big thing that people have been asking is, if this is just isolating good bacteria and putting it in a pill, what's the difference between something like this and a prebiotic or a probiotic?
Right.
Because I'm sure your wife, for her hot girl tummy troubles, takes a lot of those as well. Or
100%.
Why shouldn't I just be eating yogurt or any of this stuff?
Right.
And the difference is when you talk about something like a pre or probiotic, you're talking about sometimes you're talking about maybe like it isolates something like 10 to 20 different kinds of bacteria. Key types of bacteria for sure. But it's not the thousands and thousands to millions of types of bacteria that one human sample from a microbiome can provide. Yeah. So that's a huge difference. And then if you're like, what about yogurt? I heard yogurt has living cultures. Congratulations. You got marketed to, idiot. I mean, it does have a few, but it's the same thing as a pre or a probiotic. It's going to help a little bit, but it's like drinking pomegranate juice for the to get rid of free radicals. It's like, yeah, sure, I guess, but you're also being marketed to. And this is, so this is huge. This is a much more potent. This is a much more effective way to get all of this good bacteria that you're supposed to be getting.
Have they published any kind of efficacy studies on how people have reacted to taking the pill?
Yes, they have. So they have said that they did a 180 patient study. This was the study that was approved by the FDA. Nearly 88% of patients taking the capsules. Now, this was given to people with C. diff. Okay. So these are people that had, this is not a pill that's being marketed yet for general stomach issues. This is being marketed for stomach issues that are caused by C. diff infections, which still account for tons and tons of these. We're talking about something like 15,000 to 30,000 deaths per year. Wow. Not infections, but deaths. Wow. And this usually happens after a major medical procedure or people that have to take long cycles of multiple antibiotics that accidentally kill good bacteria. Huge problem. So, and a lot of these people, this happens and their stomach never goes back to normal, which is why, but we saved their lives because of a surgery,
Right.
So basically, they gave 180 patients with a C. diff infection these pills. 88% of patients taking the capsules did not experience reinfection after 8 weeks. 60% of those who received dummy pills did not experience reinfection. So this is an additional 28% of people not experiencing reinfection, which does not sound like a huge amount. And you're like, well, 60% were okay already. It's like, well, we want it to be 100.
Yeah, right.
Getting it up to 88 just with this study, this first round, that's huge. And remember, this is not like something that's going to be, the idea is this is not going to be an insanely expensive drug. Hopefully, the idea is this is not going to be the one and only thing that you do to not re-experience these infections.
Yeah.
This should be like an additive thing. But if this gets approved for this, then they can start testing it for other things. Hey, does this help for people with ulcerative colitis? Does this help for people with, with Crohn's disease? Any of these other sort of things that are happening. And it could, and then it can even be tested on things like mental and emotional issues. A huge amount of things like depression and anxiety have been linked to deficiencies in the microbiome.
Right.
So this is a first step. Now, of course, there are some things in here that I red flagged. So first of all, the company Seres is going to co-market the treatment with Swiss food giant Nestle, which will also split the profits.
Chocolate covered poop pills.
Nestle, of course, being one of the big bads in the world of corporations. Nestle being one of the corporations truly destroying the earth and its people. So,
well, you win some, you lose some, I guess.
But the fact that Nestle is thinking about co-marketing it also leads me to believe that the goal of this in the long term is over the counter.
Well, yeah, that does sound 100% like that's the goal. And let's be honest, that's what I would hope for, right? We want it to be an over-counter. We want it to be efficacious enough to warrant people wanting to just walk up to the drugstore and like Advil, like I'll take some poop pill and I'll feel a lot better in the morning. I would love that to be the case.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like anything else, we don't know what this does long term. There's no longitudinal study of what it would happen if this was over the counter and people were taking it all the time, and what it would do to the delicate balance of your gut microbiome. But the fact that it's even happening, like, I gotta say, I'm putting these things on as footnotes and asterisks and things to be like wary of, even though I think that this is way more positive than negative. I just feel like we have to note these things, And one of the reasons why the FDA, it was so quick to approve these things, I think, and not quick. I mean, like I said, OpenBiome's been doing it for the last 10 years. But I think as soon as large corporations and pharmaceutical corporations started doing like the real studies and putting these things, the stuff that takes a lot of money, the bureaucratic stuff. I think the reason the FDA was so quick to approve it is because people were doing this themselves. We were talking a lot about people doing the fecal transplants themselves, or, you don't
want a home DIY fecal transplant.
Well, some of this stuff that OpenBiome does, though, is at home do it yourself. That's the thing that's wild, is OpenBiome sometimes will, or a lot of times will send a frozen sample to somebody.
Really?
And a home enema kit and be like, here's how you do it.
There. I guess that's the open part of OpenBiome.
That's it.
Wow.
That's the open part.
Just put this in the open part.
Yeah. So the FDA it was a headache for the FDA because people are like, hey, I mean, we guess there's nothing illegal about this, but like you could give yourself worse infections. Like this could be, worse than what you're trying to cure. And
oh God.
And also like some of the do-it-yourself methods, like people are just looking up on the internet how to do this yourself in your own home and not doing it. Look, very seriously, getting fecal matter anywhere near any kind of wound, bad. Getting fecal matter anywhere where you can get an infection, bad. Yeah. People who are doing this stuff at home, particularly like administering their own enemas and stuff, if you don't know how to do it, you can tear shit up there.
Oh, boy.
And then you're injecting poop into it.
Oh boy.
And that's buddy, that's how you listen.
That's
do you want MRSA? That's how you get MRSA.
That's a bad weekend.
It's not how you get MRSA, but it's how you get something very bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that the FDA, I think, was looking for was just like, if so many people are doing this, can't somebody just submit something to us that makes it, And so in December of last year, when this other company submitted, it was Ferring Pharmaceuticals. Ferring Pharmaceuticals got the FDA approval in December of last year for the first pharmaceutical grade treatment, but it was still a rectally administered treatment. And the FDA was like, we're going to do this because you've figured out a safe and effective way to do this. And we can look at it and say, all right, give it to the idiots. Let the idiots do this.
Yeah, I guess.
Let the idiots do this.
Do it.
And they're like, the pill version. Can't somebody figure out a way not to do this rectally at home?
That's a level of desperation that I have a hard time fathoming. Is like, I'm so uncomfortable that I'm going to do this at home and make it work.
Imagine, I mean, look, it's sort of like if you live with chronic pain and people tell you there is no treatment, and then it's like, I mean, this is how so many, in some countries and communities this is how you wind up with faith healers and all these other kinds of like charlatans or people or homeopathy. The early 2000s boom in homeopathy was insane. Do you remember where it was just kind of like everybody's like, use this homeopathic remedy? And it's like, that's not real. Like, it's literally not real. But
yeah, people's desperation. And you got to sympathize with that. Like, they are so, it's such a bad place.
But this is more, I mean, as much as that stuff preys on there being no treatment, there is other stuff where you would hear about, and you still hear about because of the state of medical care in the United States. I can't afford to get my tooth. Like, if you live in Southern California, I can't afford to get my teeth fixed here. I'm going to take the bus to Mexico,
right?
Where there's one of those tourism dental places where you go in and you get your teeth fixed in Mexico because it's half the price. Or people who fly to Korea to get MRIs and CT scans and stuff like that. Because their insurance won't approve it over here, and it's literally cheaper to fly to Korea and have it done. And so when you think about this, it's like, well, I have what they're telling me is a lifelong condition which causes chronic pain and inability to lead a regular daily life in a lot of ways. And I hear there's this experimental treatment. I'm going to go do it, and if I can't go do it, I'm going to look up if I can do it at home.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, out of all the experimental treatments I've heard of, sticking something up your butt ain't the worst.
I think that's their log line. It's not, sticking something up the butt is not the worst. Yeah, you're right. And people have certainly done way worse things to themselves than this, but it's sad. And I think that's why I have so much hope that we're at a place, hopefully, or this is indicative of a place that we will get to of an easier, better, more effective way of helping these folks.
Yeah. And if this works, who knows where else we can put poop?
Yeah. I got so many other holes. I did a quick search, Anthony. I cruised over to Nestle.com/brands/brands brand search list. And I'm looking at all of the brands that Nestle owns.
It's bad.
Let me tell you, my friend, there are a lot. A alarming number of pet food brands are Nestle brands. Cat Chow and Alpo, and there's tons. Frisky, and there's so many pet food brands.
There are wild.
A lot of things in here, and I'm wondering what you think might be the best pairing if Nestle is going to go in on this. Obviously, just Nestle chocolate covered pills, always going to be a winner. Just Nestle chocolate in and of itself. But may I submit to you, my friend, they happen to own Hot Pockets.
Now I saw that. Now I love a Hot Pocket.
Sure. Who doesn't?
Now, if I could get myself one of those good, like a meatball or a pepperoni pizza hot pocket with just the right bacteria in it.
Yeah.
You
right?
know?
That's a win.
That is absolutely a win. Here's
hot
another
pocket
thing.
For your hot pocket.
I like trying Kit Kat flavors from around the world.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they do own Kit Kat.
I say, put a little fecal bacteria into a fun Kit Kat.
Yeah. There you go.
You know? give me a dark chocolate coffee break time Kit Kat like they have in Korea, and then put a little fecal bacteria in it for an adult, for the discerning palate. A matcha Kit Kat with a little bit of that bacteria in it. Then you're getting an anti-inflammatory plus the fecal bacteria. You know what I mean?
And honestly, the Kit Kat could still work applied rectally. I'm just talking shape-wise.
Yeah, shape-wise, it makes a lot of sense.
Right, just shove it right up there.
And here's the great thing is because it comes in 4 bars, you can decide how you want each of the bars to be applied.
That's right. Mix and match as you please.
You mix and match. Are you a little hungry? Great. You can eat 2 of the bars, save 2 for later.
Yeah. Give me a break.
When you're in a more delicate position. Nestle,
got,
and then when you think about like all of these different brands, you also think about the mascots, and I think about the Nestle Quick Bunny.
Yes.
Think about the Nestle Quick Bunny talking to you and your children about the effectiveness of other people's poop.
I think that's a win. You want that message conveyed from a friendly, fluffy, clean-looking animal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Soft, something soft.
Now, here's something great, Jeff. We've forgotten about maybe one of the most well-known brands with the Nestle name attached to it, Toll House cookies.
Ah, yes.
We're used to having the little chips in it. Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, little chunks.
You don't even have to change the way it looks. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then if you're an adult, if you're an adult on the go, maybe you've got one of those Stanley hot girl water bottles that all the girlies are carrying around these days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe you didn't know that Nestle's responsible for Starbucks at Home powder.
Look at that.
Now that's 2 different powders that you can mix together, just like on Water Talk. Are you familiar with Water Talk? These are people on TikTok that add the flavor additives to their water and still tell you that they're getting hydrated, but they add so many flavor additives to their water that it's like they're basically drinking adult Kool-Aid and telling you they're being healthy.
It's just Kool-Aid.
It's just Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
They're like, it's sugar-free and calorie-free. I was like, baby, that's electric blue water. That ain't water anymore. But imagine you take your Starbucks and you take your dried fecal bacteria, mix it together, put it in your Stanley water cup.
One part. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, honestly, the more we talk about it, the more I think this is just the kind of synergy that we need.
I'm telling you, they got so many options here. Lean cuisine? Come on. They own lean cuisine.
Let me tell you something. You want to keep your weight under control? A great way to do that is for it to just go straight through. Just bring it straight through. The grossest one I think you could add it to would be a European brand, the Milky Bar. I don't like the sound of fecal bacteria being added to the Milky Bar.
Well, you just call it the Super Milky Bar.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
And Extra Milky Bar.
No, thank you. No,
what
thank
about DiGiorno?
you.
They have DiGiorno.
It's not delivery.
It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. It's not a delivery of the bacteria into your asshole. It's DiGiorno.
It's DiGiornoing it right up there. We call it DiGiornoing it. And then, of course, they make Nespresso machines. So maybe they can make a little machine where you just get a pod. You just get a pod and then it comes out of the machine and you've got your fecal bacteria ready to drink for the professional on the go.
This is the problem with late stage capitalism, Anthony, is that every time we talk about how a mega corporation is destroying the world, we see all the little wonderful quality of life improvements that they make for us, you know?
You know what? I apologize to brands.
Thank you.
I once again, I forget how much our favorite brands do for us. Thank you, brands.
Thank you, brand that is hundreds of other brands.
Thank you, brand that hides your name from various products because you know about your reputation for sweatshop labor and the horrible destruction of various ecosystems around the world. Thank you. I apologize.
Now you be in charge of my internal ecosystem as well.
Yeah, good. That's who I want. Yeah. Making sure I'm
Based
okay.
on their track record, I'm really ready to sign off on this one.
Listen, if there's somebody that you want looking out for you, and corporations are people, so I do say somebody. If there's somebody that you want to trust with your health and safety to care about you, isn't it Nestle?
How could it not be?
How could it not be
and if
Nestle?
it's not Nestle, then isn't it one of the hundreds of sub-brands that Nestle represents?
That's right. Listen, was Nestle heavily responsible for the baby formula scandal a couple years ago? Sure. But who wasn't?
Yes.
Right. Does Nestle employ child slave labor around the world?
Yes. I mean,
yes,
of course.
Of course. Obviously. We know that.
Yes.
Do they exploit drought-ridden areas and take, bottling water for the Arrowhead water brand?
Of course. Sure. But are these things that we can easily ignore when we're enjoying a delicious Kit Kat bar?
Yes.
Yes,
especially if, and no matter where or how on your body you're enjoying that Kit Kat bar, I think we can all agree. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Don't tell me about the groundwater contamination. Let's talk about the chocolate contamination in my tummy and how it's not contaminated with enough delicious chalky. That's what I want.
Maybe the best brand of all that Nestle represents is cognitive dissonance.
That's right. That's right. Think about that one. Or don't think about it is what we're saying.
Or don't. You know what, though? I am genuinely excited about this development. I think there would be a very, very small people. Only the most desperate folks would, I think, consider that the fecal transplant. I think that is, one of those things that is just inherently off-putting to people. Mm-hmm. And sure, the, headline of poop pill or the notion of a poop pill is also off-putting. But when you really understand what it is, which is, the bacteria that is harvested from healthy fecal matter, I think there's going to be far more people that are willing to do this, or that, I think the job of the Nestle Corporation and the marketers therein is to decouple those two concepts and have these be really a microbiome pill. And I think it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people as Nestle continues to rape our planet.
Yes, both things can be true. I got one final question for you about this, Jeff. What do you think they do with all that fecal matter once they've gotten all the good bacteria off it? You think they Dave Matthews it? You think they just drop it right into the nearest body of water?
Well, I think, they got Alpo and Purina and
Gerber.
They do have Gerber.
Babies don't know. They're stupid.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets. So there you go, folks. Put some poop in you.
I am genuinely excited.
I am too.
I'm unironically excited about it.
My family, in Jewish families, Jeff, it's called your kishkas are in a knot. And that's the constant feeling of tummy unease that is genetically in a lot of Eastern European and Jewish families. And it's all connected to a lot of hereditary and microbiome related biological stuff. And man, if this really is a very simple solution.
I certainly hope so. I hope it can be, not just for the extreme cases, although that is a huge benefit in and of itself. But if it can be an over-the-counter kind of remedy, just think of how much less complaining there will be in the world. I
don't know. I'm trying to think of all the things I could get done if I stopped complaining. It's almost too much time.
It's too much. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to complain a little bit more. And the complaint is we ain't got enough money.
we would love for you to make sure that we get to keep making these. And, it's easy for you. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. I know that sounds hard. It says like, I'm listening to this show right now. I'm not going to go to a website and fill out my information.
Driving. We don't want to hear about it.
But guess
Get
what?
your computer out while you're driving.
Do it. Stop. Accelerate to the website. That's our motto.
That's our motto. What do you get if you go to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns? Well, in addition to keeping this show advertising free, for $1 a month, you get access to our Discord, which is where everybody's been hanging out and they've been talking about cool stuff without you.
It is where we harvest these stories from. Think of our Discord as the fecal matter from which we pluck the useful bacteria that we then insert up you in your holes.
That's right. You could get in on the ground floor and be part of that fecal matter. And if you give a couple more dollars a month, you start getting a little bit more a month, including bonus episodes, extra audio, and bonus video content. Check it all out at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.